called you and that lets you save. Who cares?
True form life. We have all the tools. We have no excuses now. We have just a lack of creativity is the only thing holding us back.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community, whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. Today I'm bringing on Jack Stafford, and he was an absolute pleasure to interview. I gotta tell you, great guy. We talked before a little bit. We talked after. I wish him all the best with his future endeavors, which I'll mention here at the end. But you're going to hear about it on the interview as well. He started out, incredible story, I got to tell you. He started out basically couch surfing and playing music for friends and families of the people that he's staying on the couches with. It's a thing. You can actually look it up. I looked it up not too long ago. I didn't even know couch surfing was a thing, but Jack kind of traveled all over the world. He talked about living in Amsterdam and New Zealand, and he's in south of Italy right now. I think it's really cool. People that travel, and I was very fortunate to travel earlier on in life, and I traveled recently as well, so I would call myself a world traveler as well. But I just think you have so many benefits, I suppose, in life by seeing other cultures and different customs and norms. And Jack is well read, and he has really cool stories, and he plays music for people's health. Like, what a great thing to do. What a great thing to do for not just for himself, but other people. And he talked about how he's healing himself from the inside out, and then mentally and spiritually. And we just had a really nice conversation. And sometimes I'm inspired after conversations or interviews like this. So I'm grateful I got the chance to speak with Jack. And I'm grateful to share this opportunity with you to have a listen to the show. So sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
All right, welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. We got Jack with us online right now from a very far place away. He's going to tell you all about that shortly. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Hey, Drew. Thanks for having me.
We are excited to be here. It's our pleasure. Why don't we jump into it? Can you tell us who you are, what you do, how you got into it?
Sure. Well, currently I'm a semi-retired singer-songwriter in the south of Italy. And how I got here, I was living as a nomadic troubadour, traveling around the world. I traveled all across Europe, North America, playing house concerts. So I just turn up into someone's house and I play a show for all their friends and family in return for a couch to sleep on. And yeah, I did this for about 2 years and had a pretty good time. And that was in New Zealand. And I met a girl, as you do. And we ended up traveling together for 8 months across. We cycled around New Zealand. We sailed around Australia. We bought a tandem in Bali. We cycled up through Southeast Asia. And then after all that trip, she brought me back to the south of Italy, where I've been ever since.
So did you just decide that you're going to travel around and play in people's homes, or how did that come about?
As with these things, it happened gradually and also suddenly. I was living in Amsterdam. I was a musician there, and I was also working as a writer. And I had releasing singles and releasing albums there. I also went touring around Germany, Scandinavia from my base in Holland, and about half of those shows is quite common to do house concerts, and they're quite a big thing. I think they started in America or Canada, perhaps. But they were quite popular, and there was a home concert scene. And when I started traveling, also I got into couch surfing, and I kind of combined the two. So I do these couch concerts. So I'd write to the people on the forums for a town I was going to go, and people would respond. They're usually quite social people. They're used to having a stranger sleep in their house. So it's kind of a next level thing to have the stranger sing and do a whole, because I tell stories about what I've been doing and all the strange experiences I've had because it's kind of a self-generating thing. You do a strange experience, you get a song about it to have more strange experiences.
Okay.
It's perpetuating. And then I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, and then I went on this big binge, this big traveling binge, except doing what I'd done before, but in just a very much more concentrated way.
Okay, so can you paint a picture for us when you book this? You book a room or you book a couch, and then you go. I picture people standing all around you, and you're singing and telling stories. Take us there.
Yeah, it can be like what do you call that when everyone brings food to a place in America?
Potluck.
Potluck. Yeah, it's kind of like a potluck, or it can be everyone has a living room, and even the saddest people have about 20 friends, so they could all they could all pull in an audience. So yeah, I wound up playing at birthday parties or street parties or just any night of the week. People would, after school, or 101 different scenarios.
Do you have a favorite story that you can share with us? I'm sure you got 100 of them. I know. The first one that comes to your mind.
Oh, for example, how strange experiences lead to strange experiences. I was in Australia, and I did a couch concert, and with these couch surfers, and one guy said he explained how he works in a mine, which in Australia, mining's a big thing. These huge open cast mines. So he said, "You come and play in my mine." He was a manager. So the next day, we got on this huge aeroplane with all these other workers. It was a big jet, and we flew over to this mine, and I played a show to the workers in the bar, and then we got a whole tour of the mine afterwards. That's kind of a crazy gig, yeah, because there was really like these guys were rednecks, and there's me with my accent. I'm not doing country and western, as you can probably guess. So I don't think I was the biggest success, but yeah, I got some great stories out of it.
Tell me about your music.
Well, my music's it's quite confessional, but it's also very self-help. So it's quite documents my journey through life. So I started with songs about girls and work, and I evolved into songs about all my traveling. So I kept the Troubadour Chronicles about my life as a nomadic troubadour, and then I evolved into songs about the body, because I got very into Ayurveda, because all this traveling's not so healthy, eating food, eating whatever's there, getting very imbalanced, not sleeping enough. So my health went down, and I got very into Ayurveda, the Indian medicine system, which is really a fantastic system. And I wrote an album about that. And now I'm moving into more of a mind phase. So I got my body fixed. Now my mind's messed up, because of all these crazy experiences. And I did a lot into meditation and Vipassana meditation, and read a lot about mindfulness and things like that. And I think I've almost got it fixed. And now I'm moving into the spirit. So I've done body, mind, and spirit.
So tell me how your music relates to Ayurvedic.
Well, I did a song. My style of songwriting is quite lyrical, so it's very explaining. That I talk very clearly and I explain how you can. So there's a song about how to. It's all based on the doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So it's kind of related to the seasons. So your body type is kind of based on the season. Some people are a winter person, some people are a summer person. Some people are very hot, some people are very cold and heavy and light and dry, and you sort of balance with opposites. So it's a very natural system that works for everyone, because I think with a lot of these diets and medicinal systems, people preach what works for them. Like a raw diet, everyone should be on raw. It's amazing. It works for me. And if you're a big tough guy, you're struggling with weight, then yeah. But if you're a thin person like me and it's cold weather and you just eat raw food, you just destroy your digestion. So that's just one example. But you've got to go with the season. Ketogenic in the spring, raw food in the summer. It's just a very logical way to live.
So that's the way that you've been training yourself to live now?
Yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I go off the rails sometimes, but yeah, just eat what's in season. And I live in the south of Italy now, and that's when I used to live in Amsterdam, the supermarket there, I didn't understand the cucumbers are only available in the summer, and I didn't realize the potatoes are more of a winter food, or everything was available 24 all around the year. All food is available. But here in Italy, we grow it ourselves, and so we've got courgettes and zucchini and tomatoes and salad. And then in the winter we don't have that stuff, so we eat the grains and the heavier foods because it's cold and you've got stronger digestion. So yeah, being here in the countryside has really helped me implement that in a natural way.
Tell me what life is like there.
Oh, it's pretty. It's you wouldn't like it at all. I mean, you probably, I was on the beach this morning, meditating, and I came back up and had breakfast off the tree. It's beaches today. Yeah, you wouldn't like it.
So, tell us how your music relates to your lifestyle, maybe Ayurvedic, or how you're helping other people understand that there's a correlation here.
Well, with this album, Ashtanga Hriddhayam, that really helped a lot. There's about 17 songs on there. You can listen to it. It's on Spotify. And it just explains all the doshas and about how you can implement it in a practical way. And last year I toured yoga festivals, and I just explained to people through the medium of song how easy Ayurveda is, because it can be quite complicated. These things, the text I used was an 2,000-year-old Sanskrit text. It's all written in poetry form in sutras, because they used to have to remember all the texts. So the father would teach the son. It was handed down from generation to generation. They wrote a bit on palm leaves, but when someone comes to you with an illness, you remember the sutra for that illness, and it's a poem about how to make the leaves and what to do, and how to cook it, and you recite the sutra, and then you do it. So when I put it into a song nowadays, I have stomach trouble, I remember Jack's song, and then you kind of follow on. So I hope to update the style for the modern audience.
What's it called on Spotify, or is it just your name?
It's just good for Jack Stafford because I stupidly gave it the Sanskrit name, so Ashtanga Hriddhayam. Good luck with that. Yeah, good luck. See what you find.
Where did you study this, or where did you find the ancient teachings, if you will?
I've been to India, but there's plenty of textbooks, and I bought the original ones there. But I also distilled what I'd read from. There's some great. Particularly in America, in Boulder, Colorado, lifespa.com, John Doulard, he translates modern science with ancient wisdom. And there's many great teachers. So basically, I just made it rhyme.
Do you have one book that you'd recommend our audience?
No, but go to the LifeSpa blog. And actually, there's a book by Vasant Lad, and it's called The Encyclopedia of Ayurveda. The Complete Home Cure by Vasant Lad.
Okay, so what's next for you, or what do you have planned for the future? Are you going to be traveling more when things open up, or are you settling down a bit?
I'm retired now. Yeah, that's traveling is too much for me now. Yeah. I mean, never say never, but I'm going to the journey inside. Yeah.
Well, what the thing is, I traveled for about 10 years, all throughout the U.S. and then overseas, some of those places I mentioned. And it's tough. Like, I think a lot of people, how can I compare? I know a couple of people that bought motorcycles. I have a motorcycle. So I know a couple of people that bought motorcycles. And after a few months, they're like, this isn't for me. And I'm like, that's fine. It's not for everyone. But I think that the thought, it's like travel, right? Like the thought of traveling sounds amazing, but you don't realize how much a toll it takes on your body and your mind, like you've been talking about.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't take it back. It made me who I am. But yeah, to do it again, I think it's the young man's game. Yeah.
That's funny. That's exactly what I tell people. I said I wouldn't take it back, but I wouldn't go back either.
Yeah. But it's true with everything in life. But with all these amazing experiences we have, I wouldn't be here in the south of Italy if I hadn't been to New Zealand. So
yeah, we are where we are because of our past, and I think for a lot of people, once you accept that path, like for me, I like where I am in life. I appreciate my life. I like where I am. And if we were to change any of our past, then you wouldn't be where you are today. So
exactly, you'd just be another douchebag and you one of those friends you left behind, you know.
What does it look like for you when you wake up? Can you give us an idea of some of the meals that you have throughout the day?
Like today it was peaches off the tree. So I had a kind of a khichdi, just with a mung dal and rice. I'm vegetarian now, so it's a little less options, but yeah, it's feeling good. I try to not to eat much in the evening because I find it stays with me through the night. So I try and front load through the day. I think that's a good tip. A lot of people in Italy, they eat just a big meal before going to sleep, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
Well, you know what I thought was interesting? It was as similar in Germany as it was in Italy, at least the people that I was around. And they didn't eat till, my gosh, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. And then
crazy.
You try to sleep, and then you try to get up. Like, I'm an early riser now. You try to get up early, but you have that food that you're trying to digest in your system, and then you're up all night waiting to eat.
No. It's when I did the Vipassana meditation retreats, the Buddha said that he was one of the forerunners of Ayurveda, and he said that don't eat after noon is the secret, is a panacea. What do you call that? Panacea, the cure all your health problems if you don't eat after noon.
Well, they didn't. Oh, the monks. I think the monks in the monks in Sri Lanka, I think they only ate once a day, maybe in the early morning, or sorry, mid morning, maybe.
Right.
It was really cool.
11.
Sorry.
Were they begging for their food, so they had to living on donations, or?
Yeah, it was interesting because some of them, I got a chance to talk to only one monk that spoke English, and the rest didn't. So it was really nice to speak with him. But he was in other parts of the world, and he said that Sri Lanka is one of the last places where it's still acceptable to do that, to live completely off of donations, if you will, or gratitude, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for. So they would so they go and they'll stand at a front gate or maybe a door, and they'll wait for food. And if people don't, and I said, well, what happens if no one brings you food? I said, well, then you walk to the next house. But they have one bowl. They only take what they can eat, and that's their meal for the day, and that's it.
Yeah. No, well, that's the best. That's really, yeah. I mean, your body adapts, and you'll be fine. Okay, you suffer for a few months, but you can adapt to anything. This whole everyone's eating too much.
So what's next with music? Are you continually working on new songs, new albums? What does that look like in your music career?
Yeah, well, I'm moving on to the third part in the trilogy. I've recorded this new album about the mind, going deeper, and I'm releasing a song every 6 weeks. But now I'm writing on trying to write from a more spiritual aspect. When I was in India, I had a kind of a spiritual evolution. So I didn't have like a blinding light thing, but I got this real synchronicity where I started waking up at 3:33 every morning. And that's kind of weird, I mean, you roll over, it's like Groundhog Day, you just, whoa.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I Googled it, as you do. And there was all these YouTube videos about 333, and I'd never heard of anything like that before. And it says, look for synchronicity in your life, the other things someone's trying to get you a message, or your higher self is talking to you, so it's weird. And I'm in India, so obviously I'm trying to think, like when you're in Sri Lanka, you're raising your consciousness a bit, aren't you? So, and I started seeing Kundalini everywhere, and I hadn't had any experience of Kundalini before. I didn't know what it was, but I was staying behind a Kundalini yoga center, and the this taxi driver started talking about it, and the doctor I was with started talking about it. So, and he recommended to read this book, The Serpent Power, which is about awakening Kundalini, and it's in a very complicated language. So I started watching this YouTube series about it, and it was from this American guy, Nehemiah Davis, and he's a yogi, and he's never been to India, but he started doing mantra and pranayama, and his father was a yogi in America. So I'm sitting in India having my spiritual awakening from a guy in Miami, this good big guy who looks like a quarterback, and he's talking about all these Sanskrit terms and the, Shakti power. And it was weird. And so I've kind of been following him now, and he has all these pranayama practices and mantras and prayer. And he talks about all this, these are metaphysics. So I'm learning about all the science behind all this strange Sanskrit stuff that I've heard about, but I can't really relate, like, I don't know if you read Autobiography of a Yogi. It's kind of a book about what it is to be a yogi and about this guy's awakening. And, but when it's Indians talking about Indians, it's just, it doesn't relate to me. I don't, this Kundalini and chakras, it's in this other language, but, when you hear this American talking about it and how he was, has psychic powers and can do astral projection, leave his body at will, travel to the other realms, perform magic healing, incredible things. And he says it in such a matter-of-fact way, just as drops in when he's talking about the mystic constitution of man, and then just drops in a little sentence about how he's had these crazy experiences. It just makes it all so believable. And I'm doing these practices now to try and awaken my psychic senses, and it's going really well. Haven't had nothing spectacular, but
this is from the book that you're talking about, like that individual's the Autobiography of a Yogi. Was that someone else?
No, that's for about 60 years ago. But this guy is Nehemiah Davis, and he has a website, mysticknowledge.org, and he has videos on YouTube, Mystic Knowledge, and he goes into the occult, but he explains it in a very methodical way about the metaphysical science behind, all the things that we, all the crazy stuff that you don't really believe, unbelievable stuff, but he explains it in the science behind it, and it's fascinating.
Well, that's what's interesting, is because like there's so many like religion this, religious that, like whose religion is better. But when I was working with these monks, like many of them believed that at a deep level that Buddhism is I lost it now. Buddhism is science, like it's the science of the mind, is what they say. So it just gave me a different perspective of how to think about it, because it seems like it's so clashing of which religions is better when you bring in different spiritualism. But when it's science, the science of the mind, it just makes it so much clearer for me. Like that's what they believe in.
Yeah, because the Buddha, he understood these things through experience. So he could meditate and go down to a cellular level, could take his mind and concentrate down to a cellular level and realize the way this, the rising and falling of atoms when a scientist does this and discovers it in a rational way, it doesn't change him as a person. He's still the same idiot. Yeah. But when you can experience these things through these practices that these monks and yogis do, then it makes it real for you, because only through experience do we learn these things.
Okay, so you have the 3 different chapters, if you will. What do you call them? 3 different.
Yeah.
And you're releasing a new video or a new music, a new song. What do you call it?
Yeah, a new single. Yeah, so I've done these 3 albums, and now I'm working on releasing singles with videos. I just did one, Background Worry, which is based on this Buddhism, that we have this incessant mind, a monkey mind chattering away, and how we're making ourselves crazy, background worry going on, mental radiation. And I couldn't make a music video because it was canceled because of COVID. So I contacted all my friends all around the world and a few fans. And I got everyone to send in videos of filming themselves singing the song. And I put them in order of age. So it starts with the little kids. And then as we worry our way through life, they get older and older. And it creates a really nice effect.
And what is it? How do we find that?
Just Google Jack Stafford on YouTube, background worry.
Background worry. Awesome. I want to check that out. In YouTube. Okay. And then, so after, what does it look like in the back end for the music industry? Is there something that you're working towards or something that you're striving for? I don't know how. Maybe you could explain to our audience what that looks like when it comes to the back end of getting something produced, throwing it up on Spotify, or maybe a bigger platform.
Yeah, well, I'm an independent artist, so I do everything myself. But we're so lucky these days. We have all the tools that the major labels have, or the big industry people have. We can record on our computer. We have Logic Pro X, the same software. I have the same microphones. I can get the same digital distributor. I can get onto Spotify. I don't have to pay for printing of CDs anymore. I can get it distributed globally in 1 week. And then I have the same promotion tools. I have Facebook ads, YouTube ads. I have the same editing software to make music videos. I can do everything, I can contact all the people who can help me if I need a bass player from Japan, or if I need an animator from Argentina, I can get them. And it's just, we have all the tools. We have no excuses now. We should just, a lack of creativity is the only thing holding us back.
Yeah, and you don't sound like you don't have any lack of creativity going on there.
Thanks, Drew.
Okay, is there anything that we missed before we wrap things up here, Jack?
No, I think that's great. I really appreciate you taking the time to help me get my message out there, and the message in the songs, because I'm trying not to write songs about girls anymore. I'm really trying to have songs about self-help songs that have a message. And, just like you're doing with your podcast, you have on people who you think can help your listeners. And I'm trying to do the same with my songs.
Very cool. Yeah, it's our pleasure. If we can do anything to help in the future, we're more than happy to. Can you direct our audience to, I know we talked about it a few times, do you have a website or anywhere you want to direct our audience?
Yeah, just Google Jack Stafford and whatever comes up first, Facebook or my website or YouTube or Spotify. I'm everywhere. So.
Awesome. All right, Jack, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck with your travels, if those happen again anytime in the near future, and certainly with your music as well.
Thank you, Drew. Really appreciate you taking the time.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Nationally Syndicated, Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. I hope you get a chance to check that out. I hope you get a chance to listen to Jack's music. Super cool. I'm going right now to see what he has going on Spotify and YouTube. If you get a chance, check those out. On Spotify, you can follow people, and you can also subscribe on iTunes to different individuals. Those of us that have channels, that are content creators, that definitely helps very much to let us know that there's people out there listening and appreciating the work that we are putting out there. So you can definitely do that for Jack if you enjoyed this conversation. And if you want more details, all of our past shows are going up on exploringmindandbody.com. You can check out all past shows there. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/trueformlife. You can follow us along there. We're putting up lifestyle tips, recipes, at-home workouts, reducing stress, improving digestion. This is what we do full-time, 100%. We are working on it day in and day out. We're also on Instagram.com/DrewTadia. And if you're listening to the show, we would love it if you put a picture up and tagged us in your story. That always brightens my day when someone does something like that. I'm like, oh, yes, somebody's listening. So nice. Of course, we track downloads, and we can see that there's a good number of you here with us. So those of you that are coming week in and week out, we so much appreciate that. And those of you that are brand new, we hope to keep you here with us and enjoying the show for many more to come. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.